Hey guys, welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I am Gold Painting. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we're in the brand new 2025 Toyota Corolla, courtesy of Younger Toyota in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So we are in this one today because this very well may be the most reliable car right now in existence, and there is one major change for the 2025 Corolla as well. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2025 Corolla. First one being the LE, starting at $22,325, which is a very minor $125 bump from the 2024 model year. Typically you see more than that. SE, which is the one we are in today, starting at $24,765. FX, which is a new trim level for 2025. We'll get more into that in the rest of the video, but $26,650. And lastly, the XSE, going for $28,040. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Corolla is going to be the same. Powering the little beast is a 2-liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder, putting out 169 horsepower at 6,600 RPM, 151 pound-feet of torque coming in at 4,400 RPM. That power being sent to the front wheels through a CVT. 0 to 60 time for this one, approximately 7.8 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 32 in the city, 41 on the highway, taking regular unleaded fuel. That's an insane miles per gallon number for it not being a hybrid, so big fan of that. But anyways, before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in the Corolla, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. There is a drive mode toggle switch is located just in front of the shifter. Drive modes will include Eco, Normal, and Sport, which will adjust things like the shift points and the throttle response. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find us straight away. Let's put the Corolla here to the test, and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2025 Corolla here up to speed. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Go! Nice. That's not bad. An initial get up and go. They're a lot quicker than they used to be. I'll just put it that way. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to have any issues emerging onto the highway. And the cool thing is, that was a decent acceleration and you got incredible reliability to go along with it. And that was in sport driving mode, by the way. So whenever you do want to merge onto the highway, just tap the toggle switch up and then you got sport driving mode. So that is very convenient. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 10.8-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 10.2-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at 129 feet. As far as braking feel goes, it's fine, honestly. It feels a little bit more on the firmer side of things. So having said that, 129 feet, that's kind of an average number, or kind of worse than average number. So the number itself isn't the best, but the feel is perfectly fine. Like, I have no issues whatsoever with the braking feel. I kind of like it. But anyways, then touching on suspension and handling. Up front, you're going to get a McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, it's going to differ depending upon the trim level that you go with, actually. So torsion beam rear axle for that LE trim level now, but independent multi-link rear suspension for the SE trim level and up. So also wanted to mention the FX trim level a little bit here. Retuned electric power steering for the FX, and you're also going to get shorter springs, so a little lower ride height. That's going to help out with handling a little bit with the FX trim level as well. So I will say, with the independent rear suspension, though, going back to that, you are going to find a smoother ride and better handling with the SE trim level and up compared to the LE trim level, at least. So did want to mention that. But having said that, as far as ride quality goes in my short little test drive here today, you do tend to feel a little bit more of the road, but quite honestly, the Corolla is still probably the best ride quality compared to all the other compact cars in its class. So definitely compared to the Civic, that thing rides so harsh. And I think the Hyundai Elantra and the Toyota Corolla, they're the best ride quality in terms of compact cars. So having driven all of them at this point, so absolutely no issues with that. As far as steering feel goes, it's okay. It's definitely weighted a little bit more on the heavier side of things now, and I keep comparing it to my mind to what it used to be. It used to be a loosey-goosey steering feel, so it feels kind of nice right now. Not quite as heavy of a steering feel as the Honda Civic or the Mazda 3, but it certainly gets the job done. And touching on cabin noise, we're going 52 miles per hour right now, so probably the perfect time to test that out. It's nothing that would personally bother me, but touching on rear visibility now, I can see perfectly fine out of my rear view mirror with the shape of this thing. Definitely not going to have any issues there. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Toyota Corolla. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Toyota Corolla, finished in ice cap, in case you were curious what our color name is called, but it is fitting seeing that there is a bunch of snow and ice right behind us. But anyways, let's go ahead and start with where the Corolla is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 5, indicating that the new Corolla is built and assembled actually here in the US, believe it or not. So that's pretty cool. But let me go ahead and touch on that FX trim level real quick. We don't have the FX trim level with us here today, but the FX is the big change for 2025, and it's essentially a design package, a little bit of suspension tweaks, but it's basically going to try to pay tribute to the FX16 from the 80s, the Corolla back in the 80s there. It's going to come with 18-inch satin black alloys, blacked out roof for your spoiler, and some black badging as well. So that's essentially what makes that one different when it comes to the exterior. But let's go ahead and start up front on our Corolla that we have with us here today. Front fascia is going to differ slightly between the LE trim level and the SE trim levels. You're going to get more of an aggressive look with the SE trim levels basically. To the sides, LED headlights with LED daytime running lights do come standard on every single trim level across the board. You gotta love that. Get the automatic feature. You also get automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. And when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up the high beams for you there. So that's pretty cool. And then LED accent lighting, you guys could see that kind of down below. It's the horizontal lines there. That's going to come on the SE trim level and up, in case you wanted that. But that pretty much rounds out the front end of the Corolla. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, black window surrounds will come standard for all trim levels. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They will be heated with the SE trim level and up, and then you're going to get LED integrated turn signals for the SE trim level and up as well then. But then another thing I wanted to mention to you guys is in terms of the side skirts. So the LE trim essentially is going to give you body colored side skirts, but for the SE trim level and up, you're going to get these gray metallic side skirts. So a little bit of a differentiation there. And then taking a look at the wheel setup, 16-inch steel wheels with covers for the LE. However, there is an optional 16-inch alloy wheel package available for the LE if you did want alloy wheels for that one. And then 18-inch alloys for all other trim levels with a unique design, of course, coming with that FX trim like I was saying. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Corolla here, all the way to the top, body colored shark fin antenna. Of course, that rear spoiler, that is going to come on the SE trim level and up. So that is why we have it with us here today. Of course, you got that SE badging found in the back as well. So trim level badging will, of course, be included on the Corolla as well. LED taillights, though, do come standard for all trim levels across the board. Still to this day, not all compact cars will give you that. Gloss black rear diffuser for the SE trim level and up towards the bottom there. And perhaps my favorite part, at least on our SE trim that we have with us here, is a single exhaust outlet, but with the SE and up, you're going to get dual chrome tips. So that's what you guys are looking at. I think it looks pretty darn good. But having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so now since we are around to the back of the Corolla, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, there is going to be a button on the key fob. However, there is, of course, a rubberized button on the trunk itself then as well. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 13.1 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down for quite a bit of extra space then if you needed it. Of course, you got cargo lighting back there. Then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find a spare tire, which I always love to see. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that is going to come in at 34.8 inches. For reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the back seats there. Rear center armrest with cup holders actually does come standard for all trim levels across the board. But you know what else does now? It didn't always used to be this way. Dual rear USB charging ports now coming standard for all trim levels across the board as well. So that is pretty darn cool. So if you got kids in the back, they will stay charged up. So then making our way up to the front seats, manually adjustable cloth seats for the LE trim level. Going to find a sport fabric for the SE and the FX trims, and then a Softex upholstery for the XSE trim level. Heated front seats coming with that XSE trim level as well, and then an 8-way power driver seat with power lumbar for the XSE as well. So overall, as far as seat comfort goes with our manually adjustable cloth seats though, it really is not that bad. Honestly, I think the seat comfort is plenty fine in the Corolla, and that's something that Toyota and Lexus always does a very good job at anyways, is their seat comfort. So 100% I'm pointing this thing. But let's go ahead and take a look at the steering wheel here. It is tilt and telescoping, it is manually adjustable, and it is leather wrapped if you go with the SE trim level and up. Otherwise, that LE trim is going to put it wrapped in urethane, which is fine as well. But anyways, let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. All of your buttons are located on one side of the key. You got lock, unlock, and that button to pop the rear trunk there, but it is all keyless entry with a push button start for the SE trim level and up. You will get a turnkey start with that LE, but it is optional on the LE. I did want to say that. So anyways, all I'm going to do is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located just by the driver's right knee. And so once started up, as far as the gauge cluster goes, it is going to differ yet again depending upon the trim level. Analog gauges with a 4.2-inch screen for the LE and SE trim levels, and then a 7-inch screen for the FX and XSE trim levels. Of course, that is optional on our particular configuration that we have with us here today. So that's what you're looking at. But you got the engine temp all the way to the left, you got your fuel information to your right, and of course everything on the center screen can be controlled by using the steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side of the steering wheel. Gives you things like outside temperature, your trip A, trip B, how many miles you have left until you hit empty, a digital speedometer up there as well. And it changes the color slightly when you change the driving mode, but just barely. So Eco is going to be green, Sport's going to be a little bit of red, and Normal is going to be blue. So wouldn't have minded a bit more customization with the digital portion of the gauges there. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality here. Power moonroof coming standard with the XSE is going to be optional for our SE that we have with us here today. HomeLink controls with the frameless rear view mirror that goes for $175. That's an option we don't have. Automatic climate control does come standard, meaning you just set a temperature and it's going to automatically hit that for you. Wireless phone charger is going to be optional for the SE and XSE trims, and then ambient lighting also an option as well. So just the front of the shifter, by the way, is where that wireless phone charger is located. You got a USB charging port to the right of that. Just behind the shifter is your dual cup holders, electromechanical parking brake, and within the center armrest, it's actually a 12-volt power outlet and another USB charging port within that center armrest as well. Not a ton of storage in there though, but I do like the gloss black finishes surrounding the shifter. I've always been a fan of that. I like the silver door handle. I think that looks good as well. That didn't used to be that way, so I liked that too. So overall, I think they did a decent job with the interior quality. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the infotainment screen, because this is also new for the 2025 Corolla. So 8-inch color touchscreen display for the LE and SE trims. However, here's the new part, 10.5-inch color touchscreen display for the FX and XSE trim levels. It is going to be optional, of course, on the SE that we have today. So that is what you guys are looking at. I love it. Bluetooth and audio streaming coming with that. Wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You could check out your driving statistics up there if you wanted to, along with your radio information. So when it comes to the sound system, there is one of them, and then there's an optional one. So you're going to get 6 speakers for all trim levels across the board. However, there is a 9-speaker JBL sound system that's going to be optional on the XSE. Goes for around $675 if you wanted it, but we do have the 6-speaker sound system with us here today. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio. Let's see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. This is actually pretty darn decent for a 6-speaker sound system. There was plenty of bass there. Clarity was pretty darn good as well. So yeah, for 6 speakers, that gets the job done for sure. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Corolla in reverse, you will find a rear view camera, and it actually does take up that entire screen there. That's pretty cool. Not the highest quality rear view camera I've seen, but it certainly gets the job done, which is always, it's going to lead us into safety. And so let me start with IIHS top safety picks. So heck of a start right there. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. You get a driver's knee airbag up front. You get a rear passenger seat cushion airbag and rear seat mounted side impact airbags as well. That last one is typically like a $600 option on luxury brands. But anyways, also in the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. That gives you a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, proactive driving assist, lane departure alert with steering assist, road sign assist, and then dynamic radar cruise control as well. Then if you were to go with the XSE, this is going to be optional on the other trims as well, but you're going to get a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert. So when it comes to my final thoughts here of the Corolla, it really is pretty darn good ride quality for a compact car. It's not the best, of course, compared to other vehicles out there, but for a compact car, it does pretty darn good compared to the competition. Also great safety as well. All those extra airbags that some of the competition doesn't come with, and an IIHS top safety pick. That's a great rating there. Also stellar reliability. That's really what the Corolla is known for after all. Great MPGs, 41 miles per gallon on the highway. I also like the cool throwback styling for the FX, although wish we would have had that today. But anyways, I think the only constructive criticism I can think of is the gauge cluster. It's not the most exciting digital gauge cluster that we have here. And then the basic gauge cluster that comes with the LE, that's probably the most boring gauge cluster you will ever see in your life. So wish Toyota would switch that up a little bit, put a little more emotion behind it, some more colors and different loadouts for the digital screen, things like that. But anyways, that pretty much rounds out this review, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff somewhere on the screen. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel after all. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know. I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.